The die is set, but Alberta ain't ready to kneel just yet. They chose their king, their power was met, but we don't answer to Ottawa yet. No crown gave us what we've earned, just dirt and fire and lessons learned. Now the ground it shakes, the steel it groans, and Alberta walks alone. We ride sovereign steel through fire, through frost. We ain't the last, we're the line they lost. Alberta stands, never on its knees. A nation born in the forge of the free. From the rigs to the rails, the crops to the code, we lit their streets, we bore their load. They laughed at pride, they mocked the West, but freedom don't die, it just waits for the test. The cowboys ride.
Welcome. It's it's Unscrew the News, and it's Bruce Scholl here. This is a special presentation because we're going to tap into the City of Calgary announcement coming up here. Stand by while I find that. Make sure that we're not missing it. All right, they're going to have a technical briefing, and I thought we'd just go live and we can comment live while it's happening. Obviously, this is a big deal, and this happened December 30th. In the evening, there was a water main break here in Calgary, Alberta, and you may have heard about it. A number of vehicles were stranded. People had to be rescued from their vehicles. And so this is the second in the same vicinity, second water main break in 2 years. So massive, I think, mismanagement of the resources, because we as Calgarians obviously are paying for maintenance of said water main and water pipes throughout the city. I'm not an expert on it, but I certainly have an opinion in regard to the wastage and the spending of really wasteful things, much like having drag queen story hour, big blue rings, or art that comes from some other country, not supporting our artists here, even in Alberta or Canada. I'm not a big fan of the wastage. I'm sure that you're probably not a fan of the out of control pipes, or sorry, not the pipes, the potholes throughout the city. Hey, I'm going to bring up, let me see here. I'm going to bring up this city website. Should be joining us any second. I'm going to bring this up here. We can talk about it as this goes live, and we can chat about what's going on here. Let's see. This is not happening yet. Go live. Still not there. Let's see here. And, well, we're just waiting for it to come up, I guess. So stick around while we hope to hear from the mayor, Jeromy Farkas, and CEMA chief, Sue Henry. We will hopefully be joining them in a second here. Let's see here. Bring it right up. All right. As you may or may not have seen, I went to the scene on December 31st. That was yesterday morning, to see the aftermath, the destruction that had been caused by this second massive water main break in 2 years. And it was quite devastating. So there was, I would say there had to have been at least 2 dump truck loads of gravel, dirt, and some massive boulders on the road. You can go back and you can see my live broadcast on X as I walk down the frozen ditch along 16th Avenue. There was a number of vehicles that I highlighted that were stranded. One of them being a van that.
Welcome all for joining us for this technical
stand
brief.
by.
We're going to start with comments from Chief Sue Henry, and then GM Michael Thompson will speak about the presentation along with Chris Houston from Water Services. Then we'll end
What do you think that there's going to be a land acknowledgement?
So I'll turn it over.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sue Henry, the Chief of the Calgary Emergency Management Agency. The Municipal Emergency Plan remains activated and the Emergency Operations Center is open. We are grateful for the support and coordination from the entire membership of the Calgary Emergency Management Agency, as well as citizens. We are here to provide an update on the water main break along 16th Avenue Northwest. I am joined by General Manager of Infrastructure Services, Michael Thompson, and Mayor Farkas. We also have a number of subject matter experts from the city should you have any follow-up questions. First of all, Happy New Year's Day to all Calgarians. I hope folks had a chance to celebrate in a water-wise way. The new year is typically a time when we want to start fresh and focus on the year ahead. I know this is not how anyone wanted to begin in January, and we understand the impact that this has had on your daily routines. Thank you for your patience and for working with us as we manage this challenge together. We have made progress since yesterday, and we'll share details about this progress shortly. A boil water advisory issued by Alberta Health Services remains in effect for residents and businesses in parts of Montgomery, Parkdale, Point McKay, and West Hillhurst. For additional details, please visit calgary.ca. A reminder that 16th Avenue remains closed in both directions from Sarcee Trail to 49th Street Northwest. There are detours along Bowness Road, so please plan your commute accordingly. At this time, we do not know when the traffic flow will be completely restored to that area. Calgarians will also experience a pathway closure adjacent to the Bow River from Montgomery View Northwest to Point McKay Crescent Northwest. This closure is in effect to support the dewatering efforts as a result of the main break. This water main break has caused a significant loss of water in our system, and we need your help to restore balance. Reducing water use right now is critical. Every liter saved helps stabilize the system and speeds up our recovery. Adequate water levels are needed to ensure collectively we have enough water for critical infrastructure, emergency services, and Calgarians. We know this is an inconvenience, and we are grateful for your assistance in reducing water. We are asking everyone to take 3 simple steps. Run dishwashers and laundry only when necessary and with full loads. Keep showers to 3 minutes or less. Flush toilets only when needed. These may seem like small actions, but they make a huge difference. And together we can recover our supply and keep our city running smoothly. Calgary has always shown resilience, and this is another chance to show how strong we are as a community. Thank you to all Calgarians for being part of the solution and helping us to save water. I will now pass to General Manager Thompson.
Thank you, Chief Henry. As you all know, in June of 2024, the Bearspaw South Feeder Main break significantly impacted Calgary's drinking water supply and surrounding communities. The break prompted an urgent response from city crews, partners, and the community. Once we had the pipe back in service in 2024, you may remember that we used a device called a pipe diver for the inspection of the entire length of pipe. These inspections identified a total of 239 deteriorated pipes out of the approximately 2,000 4-meter-long pipe segments along the feeder main. Working with our industry experts, we developed a threshold for pipe repair and identified 23 additional segments requiring urgent repair. We communicated that these locations were selected for urgent repair, and it's important to remember or to recognize that the feeder main still contains segments with minor to moderate structural deterioration today. Knowing the condition of the pipe, we completed these 23 urgent repairs in 2024 to support stabilization of the pipe. We understood the pipe would need to continue operating in its current condition while we developed a plan for a long-term replacement. We knew that the pipe was operating with wire breaks, and we were monitoring it, prepared to take and make additional repairs if we started to see the condition of the pipe change. Knowing the condition of the Bearspaw South feeder main and its criticality to our drinking water system, we advanced several major projects to improve the resilience, redundancy, and capacity of our infrastructure, including the Bearspaw South feeder main improvement project. This project will add a parallel pipe of the same size as the existing feeder main. In Q1 of 2025, we started the design of this project. A project of this nature would typically take 2 years, as it's very complex in nature. We're building a new water feeder main, which is almost 6 kilometers in length, crossing the Bow River, the CPKC tracks, multiple major roadways, and it runs beside or underneath hundreds of homes and businesses. Instead of taking the typical 2 years for a design of this project, we've completed it in 8 months. The project's now out for construction and will be starting construction in Q1 of this new year. And I forgot to start by saying Happy New Year to everyone. Our current plan is to build this project in two phases, with phase A being from the Shaganappy pump station in orange at the bottom of the screen to the Sarcee Trail interchange. So that's phase A is the orange line. And phase B being from the Sarcee Trail interchange just to the south side of the Bow River. We were already moving this project forward on an accelerated schedule, but given the events of this week, we will be doing everything that we can to accelerate this project even more. Once completed, this project will replace the entire PCCP pipe north of the Shaganappy pump station with a new steel pipe. The North Calgary Water Servicing Project is another project that we've been working on. It features a 22-kilometer feeder main to support the city growth and system redundancy. Long lead items were ordered and construction began in 2025. The North Calgary Water Servicing Project, like I said, broke ground in 2025, and the feeder main construction is expected to be completed in 2028. And with additional facilities completed in 2029, it will go in operation. And that's the blue line you can see from the Bearspaw Water Treatment Plant on this map, going north to the north central part of the city. We're also working on the South Calgary Water Servicing Project, a new 25-kilometer feeder main designed to increase water capacity and system resilience. Planning is underway, and once a route is selected, the project will move into design and construction. You can see that on this map from the Bearspaw Water Treatment Plant going down the left-hand side all the way to the south end of the city. These projects are part of our long-term plan to support the reliability of the drinking water system for Calgary and surrounding communities. In addition to these projects I've mentioned, we have a number of other projects across the city that we're working on to increase the redundancy, resiliency, and capacity of the system, including upgrades at the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant and additional feeder main cross ties across the city. So what do we know? To monitor the Bearspaw feeder main in its current state, while the other projects moved forward, like I've just talked about, we installed an acoustical fiber optic monitoring system to provide continuous real-time monitoring of wire breaks and their exact locations along the feeder main. The monitoring system was operating normally at the time of the water main break this week. Since the monitoring began, we've detected 18 wire snaps across the entire feeder main. A wire snap means a single reinforcing wire inside the pipe has broken, and each snap was assessed for the risk and follow-up action was determined. You may remember that in 2024, in July and August, we would hear over 20 wire snaps. And so 18 over that year gave us an understanding that we thought the pipe was stable and operating in good condition at that point. We knew the pipe wasn't great. We knew it needed more work, but we hadn't heard any wire snaps. If we had heard a wire snap or a number of wire snaps, we were planning to go in and do an urgent repair as required. In the 2 months up until December 30th, we had not heard a wire snap along the pipe or anything in this area. However, as we learned this week, monitoring reduces our risk, but it doesn't eliminate it. And the pipe can break without us hearing a wire snap. The other piece that I'd like to run over that we know right now is our storage. And so if we could go to the next slide. So typically, we have about 600 million liters of water stored on a daily basis in our storage underground. At the point of the feeder main break, we dropped down to 459 million liters. We lost almost 80 million liters of water with that feeder main break. Today's storage is about 468 million liters, so it has come up a little bit, but we need to increase the volume of storage in our system in case we have another issue come up across the system, and so that we have water for firefighting and life safety. So that is one of the main reasons, and it is the main reason we are asking all Calgarians, businesses, and ourselves to reduce water consumption while we do these urgent repair to the feeder main and we work to get it back into service. Next slide, please. So as we navigated the early response to this incident, we're still addressing a number of unknown items. This is a picture of the feeder main from just earlier today. So a live picture from someone who had just come, was out in the field, and actually you'll hear from Chris right after me, working on the repair of this pipe. So we don't know why the pipe failed. Like I said, we were listening to it, expecting to hear something, and we didn't hear anything. In the past, we had heard wire snaps and used this as one of the indications, not the only indication, but one of them, that, like I said, we'd need to step in and take action to repair the pipe. And we don't know why we didn't hear one of those wire snaps through our monitoring. We need to take this piece of pipe out of the ground, go and understand why it broke, and then understand how this needs to inform the way we're looking at that rest of the pipe, because we have to continue to use the rest of the pipe for the period until we have that new one installed. And we need to change the way that we're thinking about this pipe. We're likely going to need to go in and make more repairs on this pipe so that we can work to keep it in service until that new one is constructed. We're not sure what those look like yet, and we've got a team working on that right now. And talking about what's changed as we go forward. So as I mentioned, we need to change the way we're looking at this pipe. We can't just be listening for wire snaps. The threshold that we used and that we had worked with our expert industry partners needs to change. And so we're evaluating that right now. And our urgency needs to change. We need to work much faster to get this new replacement pipe installed. And we are going to do everything we can to move that project as fast as we can so that we can get that installed and that we all won't have to worry about this existing pipe as we go forward. Additionally, since last year, or since 2024, we're much more prepared for a break in this pipe should something happen. We've purchased a number of steel pipes that are sitting in our yards, so if this pipe does fail, like it did this week, we've got the parts on hand to go and do these emergency repairs. The teams know how to do this work. We've got different plans in how to shut the pipe down, how to move water differently across the city, and how to get this done as quickly as we can. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see pictures of some of the spare parts that we have so that we can get in and quickly do this work. Everything has been fabricated and is sitting in our yards ready to go in case something like this week happened. So while we weren't expecting this to happen, we were ready should it happen, and that's why you're seeing us move so quickly right now. On the next slide, you'll also see that we were doing things like tabletop exercises to plan for something like this should it happen, so that we would know what we needed to do and how we would respond. In closing, I'd just like to say water is essential, and when it's impacted, it affects daily life, businesses, and community well-being in very real ways. We and I do not take that lightly. This weighs heavily on us as well. We know the disruption that this is causing and the concerns along our community and our partnering communities around Calgary. And this responsibility drives the sense of urgency to fix this repair now and to get the new pipe installed. As you know, our teams are working around the clock, drawing on lessons learned, technical expertise, and strength from the last issue. At the same time, we're staying focused on the long-term work that we need to do to get that new pipe installed. We appreciate the patience, cooperation, and resilience of Calgarians as we navigate this together. We'll continue to communicate openly and act with care and urgency and accountability as this response continues. I'd now like to hand it over to Chris Houston to run over a bit about what we're doing right now.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody. It's been a minute. So I just want to take you through what's gone on down at the site and what we've been doing up to this point. So we've been pumping down, dewatering, getting rid of water at the site, getting rid of water out of the pipe. And this is so that we can complete the excavation around the pipe to expose the damaged area and understand what's happened to the pipe. So we've done that. We've pumped down. We've got a clear view of the actual damaged area of the pipe. We've started to excavate towards the joint one direction, and we're moving towards the other direction, and we should have 3 segments of pipe exposed, hopefully by the end of today. We're moving pretty quickly. At that point, we'll have condition assessment done, so folks will come in, look at the pipe inside and outside, and give us a clear picture of what we need to do the repair, so whether we're replacing 1 segment, 2 segments, or 3 segments of pipe, and then we will start to cut out pipe. So our operators are applying all the lessons learned from the first time around, so things are going a lot quicker this time. So we've got some fantastic operators at water treatment who are moving water around the system differently. As you may recall, losing this pipe, it loses 40% of our production capacity to move water through the city. It's not that we don't have water available from the rivers or from the sources, it just makes it difficult to provide water to the whole city. So by moving it around differently, we can make sure everybody still stays in water, but we do have some asks for you that have been made already and that I will also appeal to you on. So there are also other locations that are being reviewed now. Whether we get those fixed during this shutdown or not is yet to be determined. There's some experts that will be looking into why the pipe failed. We can see the failure, we can see the result of the failure, but we don't know why it failed. And we're always looking for ways to speed up the full replacement of this current pipe, which gives us that redundancy we need fairly quickly, or it gives us a new pipe anyway. So all of those things that Michael talked about, all of the things I've talked about in terms of repair and those things make our system stronger and make it more resilient. Now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what's already been mentioned, but I'm going to make an appeal to you from an operator's perspective. When our plant operators and our system operators are nervous because of the water supply in the system, I'm nervous because of the water supply in the system. And so when we talk about the water storage in the system and all the things that does for us, it's really important to see this slide behind me, and I want to explain it just a little bit. So when we're producing water, which is the blue line, that's what we can produce per day. I think that's right. It's our demand, sorry, that is our demand per day. And then what we can produce is that, where we want to get to is that 485 million liters of demand. So we've seen times where we've dropped below that just before Christmas, but we need to get below that and stay below that line for the next several weeks. And so right now we're currently in that red zone, which is unsustainable. So Red means we're using up more water than we can produce and store. That means we're slowly depleting the system. As you can see at the break, we were really high in demand, which meant we lost a lot of water. We are getting close to the yellow zone, which means we're slightly recovering, but not fast enough. And so we're asking Calgarians to do what they can do to get us to that 485. And it doesn't mean we can only produce 485. We're able to produce more than 485, but it allows us to recover storage in the system. So I want to make that point fairly clear. So it doesn't take that much. You know, we gave some very simple examples of short showers, running the dishwasher when it's full, running the laundry when it's full. We don't want people to stop doing those things. We just want you to be conservative as we do those things. So if each person can save 10 to 30 liters per day, which isn't a ton of water, it becomes a ton of water that we can save. That gets us to our target really easily. And we've got industry partners that are helping us. We've got our surrounding communities that are helping us. But we need everybody to kind of contribute to that overall cause. And just making that appeal as an operator so that we can sustain our system. We don't want to lose our system. So thank you for that. And I think with that, I just want to acknowledge the work that's going on and the effort that's being made. Again, the lessons that we learned and are able to apply means that we can stay in water. And that's super important to us. We want to serve Calgarians that way. So I'm going to hand it over to Mayor Farkas for some remarks as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of you being here. Thank you as well to the prior speakers. Just want to acknowledge here at the EOC, we have Councillor Atkinson, McLean, Johnston, Tyers, and Kelly, and we've been in constant contact with all of the other members of council not physically present here today. This morning, I was on the ground in the affected communities, and I want to start with by thanking the people doing the work. I stood with city crews on site at the Bearspaw feeder main, engineers, operators, emergency staff. They're working incredibly long hours in the cold, under pressure. This is heavy, technical, high-risk work. And in this kind of work, there are no shortcuts. There is no margin for error. And what I saw this morning alongside the team was professionalism. I saw teamwork and people who understand quite rightly that millions of Calgarians are depending on them at this very moment to get this right. And it's because of their hard work over the night and the recent days that the situation has been stabilized. To be clear, we're still very much in the red zone. There's an incredible amount of work that still needs to be done, but we have stabilized the immediate emergency. But it's because of them that we're able to move forward. I also had the opportunity to go inside a local business directly impacted by this break. I heard from the staff and management about lost customers. I heard about staffing challenges, the real uncertainty that they're facing. We talked about what the city can do right now, including clear communication, coordination across inspections, flexibility where possible, and direct support as service is restored. And that support is happening. I want to make a direct appeal to Calgarians to go out and support the small business owners, especially in Montgomery and Bowness. They are still open. Do heed the travel advisories. The transportation and access is still possible into those areas, but please, now more than ever, Calgarians, we need to step up and support our neighbors. That support is happening from the city administration, and it's going to continue. That said, Calgarians at this point are asking some very fair questions. Firstly, what failed? Secondly, what's being fixed now? And third, and most importantly, how do we make sure that this never happens again? And here are the answers. First, what went wrong was a major failure in critical infrastructure. It required immediate action to protect public health and water quality, and that action was taken swiftly. What's being fixed now is real, difficult, hands-on work. Crews are repairing the damaged section, as spoken to. They're managing pressure across the system. We are currently in the red zone. We're requiring the help of every single Calgarian, as well as our outlying regional customers, to assist us in continuing to serve these water conservation goals. We're also working closely with Alberta Health Services. While the boil water advisories remain in place, where required. Those advisories will stay until it's fully safe to lift them. But now the most important question, what comes next? Water is the lifeblood of our city, and this Bearspaw feeder main is a critical artery. It is the critical artery. It is part of the beating heart of our water system, and the hard truth is this: it has reached the end of its reliable life. We can keep patching it, we can keep reacting, but it will continue to fail until there is an alternative built. No amount of short-term fixes will change that. So the responsible choice, the only path forward is to build a new artery, to strengthen the heart of our system so that Calgary can rely on it, not just today, but for generations to come. And we will do this faster than anything we have ever done before, and we will be held accountable every step of the way. We were set to receive an independent technical report on last year's failure. While it was originally scheduled for later this year, I've spoken to the panel chair and made clear that it must be released immediately. At the panel chair's request, they require just a few additional days to complete their work properly. Council will receive the report as soon as it is finalized, and the public will see the report shortly after. And we will act on those recommendations immediately because our City Council is united in taking decisive action, and that action means building, not patching. This will mean embarking on 2 mega projects to secure Calgary's water future. The first, as mentioned, is the Bearspaw South Feeder Mains Improvement Project. This project will add approximately 6 kilometers of new parallel pipe along the existing feeder main. Over time, that new pipe will take over service from the current line, reducing risk and increasing reliability and guaranteeing that this will never happen again. The second is the North Calgary Water Servicing Project. This project will build a new 22-kilometer feeder main and supporting facilities to ensure Northwest Calgary continues to have reliable drinking water and true system redundancy. These are not temporary fixes. They are not patchwork solutions. They are generational investments designed to strengthen the heart of our water system and support a city that continues to grow. So our council is aligned, administration is moving, and the people doing the work are showing up every single day. Calgary is Canada's 3rd largest city and one of the fastest growing in North America. And a city like ours cannot accept uncertainty in something as very fundamental as water. So this is about more than fixing a pipe. It's about fixing this for today and tomorrow and for the next century. It's about standing with the people doing the work on our front lines, supporting families and businesses when and how they are impacted, modernizing our governance of our city administration, restoring trust through transparency and action, and proving that when Calgary faces a challenge, we respond with resolve, competence, and confidence for our future. Because when Calgary faces a challenge, we do not hesitate and we do not retreat. We lead, we act with resolve, we build with purpose, and we take responsibility. Not just for today, but for the generations who will call the city home long after we are gone. I am taking responsibility. Our city council is taking responsibility. Our city administration is taking responsibility. That is the Calgary we believe in. So we will get this done faster than anything we have ever done before, and it will be done right to last us for the next century. And that is the Calgary we are building together. Thank you so much for being here, and we're happy to field questions.
Brennan with CBC. I just have a question for Mr. Houston. Have we seen Calgarians saving any water since the city introduced stage 4 restrictions?
I'm going to have to hand this to Nicole. She's our expert there. So, Nicole?
Thank you. So the question is, have we seen any reduction in demand from Calgarians since we've made our initial call to action? We haven't seen a measurable reduction in demand. People seem to be continuing on their day-to-day patterns. We had sent out the emergency alert. In the past, we had saw, a sharp reduction. That alert didn't have the loud noise that it did in previous times. And so I think that it's a little bit harder for the message to get out, but we have been taking action to ensure that all media outlets are communicating that and still have a constant call to Calgarians to reduce their water use.
And just to confirm, we have no better sense of how long the repairs will take today than we had yesterday.
Our target is 2 weeks from the moment that the break happened. So we're trying to stick to that target.
Just to follow up on that, when you said, Calgarians should try to conserve water for the next coming weeks, is that until the repair is finished, or would that timeline maybe extend beyond the actual repair of the pipe itself for any reason?
Currently, it's to get the repair and get the pipe back in service. Once it's in service, we have water from Bearspaw supplying the city, and we can meet all the demands. Unless there's additional planning that determines that there's additional repairs that need to be made in this timeline, like we had last time, then we might extend those. But currently, it's just for the duration of the repair.
I know when I was out talking to people yesterday, a lot of them were worried that was going to be the case again this time. I mean, just because we went through this process once, would you say the chance of that situation kind of rearing its head again is a little bit lower than it was in 2024, or is it just hard to say?
It's hard to say. Maybe you can speak to that, Mike.
I'm happy to answer the question about how this compares to 2024. As I mentioned, we don't know why this pipe broke. We need to figure that out, and we need to look at the other sections of the pipe that we were monitoring and figure out what action we need to take. And so we have a team working on that right now so that we can determine what action we need to take. We will then determine what the most appropriate time to do that work is. If you remember back to 2024, we all went through the initial repairs, and then we came back in September and did the urgent repairs, the 23 that I mentioned. And so that was planned repair work. And so if we have the ability to do some planned repair work, it will be urgent, but it might not be tomorrow. We will figure that out. And so we'll look at a number of factors as we're determining this, and we'll let you know as soon as we know that plan. We don't have that plan built right now, but it's something we're working on.
Are there plans to use a pipe diver again?
So we're evaluating that right now. As soon as we've got the piece of pipe out, Chris's team, once we've removed the piece that's broken, we'll use the robotic crawler. You'll remember we used that last time to go in and do the inspection of the existing pipe. And so that's a quick way for us to inspect the pipe once it's all open. And so we will be doing that again. The teams are lined up to do that work as soon as we can. If we need to do the pipe diver again, we'll make that consideration as we go forward.
Follow-up is what benefit did the acoustic monitoring have if it didn't indicate that a failure was imminent?
Sorry, the question was?
What benefit did the acoustic monitoring that was set up actually have?
So that's what we have to dig into. We were expecting that we would hear wire snaps, and that would give us an indication the pipe was deteriorating in a specific location. And to be crystal clear, the way the acoustic monitoring, the fiber optic works is we get a pinpoint location per pipe segment of the wire snaps. So we hear exactly where something broke, and we can go in and do that analysis and determine what we need to do a repair on. So that's what we were expecting, is we would start to hear some wire snaps, and then we would go in and do the urgent repair. We didn't hear that this time. And so we need to figure out why that happened and what that means as we go forward. So that's part of the unknowns that we have right now that we have to learn more about in the coming days and weeks.
Is there a timeline for when Calgarians will know why the pipe failed? Is there a specific time or anything like that?
So we don't have the question was, is there a timeline when we'll know why this pipe failed? We don't have a timeline right now. As you saw, we're just getting access to that pipe today. We're moving much faster than when this happened before because we were ready. Crews were ready to turn off valves, to isolate that pipe. Operations was ready to start moving water differently across the city. We have those repair parts ready to come in. So we're accessing this pipe much faster than we did last time. Now that we're there, we'll do the inspections and we'll start to learn that, but we don't have a timeline yet because we're just seeing that really today in real time.
Go ahead.
Question for Mr. Houston, perhaps. I know you mentioned, if the average Calgarian could save 20 to 30 liters of water, that would be a big help. Can you kind of paint the picture of what 20 to 30 liters of water is? Like, length of time with the shower or certain amount of flushes on toilet, that sort of thing?
Yeah, depending on your faucets and taps and things like that. Most of them now are low flow anyway, so they're anywhere from 6 to 8 liters per minute. And so if you think about a low flow shower head and you're taking, and you normally take a 10-minute shower, and you take, every minute you shave off of that is probably 6 to 8 liters that you're shaving off of. So when we say 3-minute shower, that's what we're looking for. If you run your dishwasher when it's half full and you run it multiple times, then you're using that much more water. So there's things like, I think the shower is probably the biggest example of where you can save. But flushing toilets, most toilets are in that 6 to 8 liter range. So if you're, flushing that multiple times during the day, then that's, again, those are areas where you can save. So hopefully that paints a little bit of a picture where you can save. And again, that's, that gets us into the green zone really easily. But even if you cut your shower in half, whatever that means, that's going to contribute to us getting into that green zone.
I saw just yesterday with the demand, it wasn't where you guys would ideally want it to be. Obviously, it was New Year's Eve, and it's a busy night at house parties and restaurants and things like that. I'm just thinking of restaurants in particular. Are there any, tips you would give them, or maybe advice, guidance, just to try and help conserve water when it comes to, their specific operation?
Nicole has lots of ideas.
Thank you. So our ask for businesses is to just reduce all non-essential water use, or to find ways to do that. Some quick examples would be maybe not offering water, making it upon request, or a lot of restaurants automatically fill up water. So just trying to make it a little bit more on demand. Some of them, I am aware, have switched to alternate methods of just bringing in bottled water for that time. They can, consider reusing water where it's safe to do so as well. We're already working with our pool and rec facilities, for example, to be able to reduce water use there. So they have changed some of their cleaning schedules and things like that to be able to still make sure that it's safe, but to be able to find ways to reduce water. We are also working with our top largest customers, having regular phone calls with them, and many of them have made commitments to be able to reduce water as well. So bringing some other operations down to minimal use for while we take this time to recover the system.
In the corner. Hi, sorry. Mr. Houston, I think this would be for you. You talked about the 2 weeks from when the break happened to the pipe back in service. Can you just talk a little bit more details on that 2-week point and what the exact kind of finale of that will be?
Yeah, so this is our goal, to have it back in service in 2 weeks. There's lots of other factors that could change that timeline, but it's a realistic goal. It's not totally optimistic, but there's several factors that have to take place. So the dewatering was number one. To put it in perspective, from 2024, it took 3 days to dewater the site. In 2024, we had that done in less than 24 hours, where we could start to excavate. We're continually dewatering, but we were able to start excavating within 24 hours, which is, we're already ahead of the schedule. We fixed that pipe in 2024 in 13 days. And so we think we're still in that window, but we've got to assess the pipe. We've got to do the condition assessments and further into the pipe. That does take time. Once we know what we're cutting out, we got to get that pipe cut out and removed. Then we've got to get the new pipe in and then welded in place. And then we've got to fill the main, test the water, make sure it's safe to consume. There's a whole process around return to service that we have to follow for that. That can take anywhere from 24 hours to 48 hours to even longer, depending on what we have to do. If we have to fill the main and drain it and then fill it again, that takes a lot of time. So we're talking about several kilometers of a very large pipe. It's almost 6 feet in diameter. And so that's a huge volume of water, which is why you see these pumping setups. And that's why we have to close the pathway down at Point McKay and Edworthy Park, that area. So that work, all of that takes time, and it all has to be done in sequence. But we think we can get that done in the 14-day window.
Mayor, can you help me understand the significance of the independent panel report, given that we already have a 600-page report on what happened?
So the independent panel review, I think, is incredibly important for members of council, but especially for the public. The public needs to have trust and transparency into the overall process. This is such a critical existential issue for Calgarians, and these findings need to be released as fast as humanly possible. So the panel chair has asked for just a couple more days to be able to conclude that work, and we will be providing that to council as soon as physically possible, and then shortly thereafter to the Public Executive Committee meeting of council on January 13th.
And what are you expecting to see in that review that wasn't included in the 600-page report?
So there's two different factors here. There's the pipes and the people. So when we think about the physical infrastructure, there's a retrospective requirement for us to actually take a look at the engineering, what went wrong with the specific circumstances there. And we have many subject matter experts on hand to be able to go into those details. But even more important is the governance of the City of Calgary, the people component, supporting our frontline staff, but also ensuring that we modernize our systems for how a modern utility should be running. So my understanding is that this independent report will be going into more detail in terms of what went wrong in the past, but more importantly, what are the immediate steps that City Council needs to take today in order to ensure that this will never happen again. And our City Council team is committed to actioning those recommendations so that we can update not just the physical infrastructure, but modernize how the City of Calgary performs as an organization.
Yeah, just one for me, which is, I believe in 2024, we heard a few times that even though water demand is a lot higher in summer, it was almost fortunate that the burst didn't occur in winter for various reasons. I was wondering if Nicole or Chris could speak to maybe some of the winter-related challenges that a water main rupture is causing this time around.
In summertime, the river flows are a lot higher. That's one contributing factor. When we're relying heavily on the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant to supply water for the city, it's drawing water from the Glenmore Reservoir, which gets its water from the Elbow River. So the Elbow River flows are probably the lowest they're going to be at this time of year, which means if this continues for a long period of time, that reservoir gets drained and it doesn't recover. So that's a pretty significant challenge that we wouldn't necessarily have in the summer.
Until the spring, basically?
Right.
Okay.
One more question? Sure, go ahead.
Sorry, I think my question is for Mr. Houston here. How confident are we that this repair is not going to cause issues on an already deteriorating pipe, right? Like, how confident are that the last repair, and I know our crews are very surgical on these repairs, but I mean, even when I've cut enough pieces of poly B, right, poly B is already deteriorating down the line. And so if I'm shaking that pipe...
All right, this sounds like we're near the end of any decent questions. So I have some questions, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. But there's a number of things. I'm just going to turn this off, and I'll keep sort of an eye on what's going on. But I appreciate you being here, and hopefully there were some answers. Hopefully we got some answers. I want to give a shout out to, when something actually is positive, and the one positive that I noticed, there was no stupid land acknowledgement. And they really just sort of got to the press conference. So I do appreciate that. Good for them. And I want to ask, and maybe you have the answer, but you probably don't, because many of us don't have the answer. But how do we have no plan, no maintenance for 10 years, and then they're surprised that things are falling apart? Another thing that I mentioned, or that I noticed, was that they keep saying that there was lessons learned from 2024. So the city's been around for 150 years. Did we have no experience whatsoever in water services that they would know over the last 150 years, passed down from other engineers? Or did they just did everybody that's working at the city just come fresh out of university as an engineer and have no experience whatsoever. So nobody in the city that was working there prior passed on that information so that there was some experience and experienced engineers working for the city. So they started off at a zero. They had no concept of what water mains would be like after they've aged out, that there's possibility of huge catastrophic events. And then when there's a catastrophic event, then there's no water available for the city, and then we have to cut back. They have no experience whatsoever. I mean, there was 2 people that mentioned this. Lessons learned. They mentioned lessons learned from 2024. How is that possible that a city of ours, with the 4th highest utility rates or taxes in Canadian cities, does not have the experience or the knowledge to manage a crisis like this? I mean, that is your job as water maintenance, as water supply to the city, is to obviously be prepared for something like this when it does happen, because it never works perfectly all the time. We know that, we understand that, but you didn't have a plan. It's just mind-boggling that this is where we're at. All right, I guess, and one of the other things I want to mention is that they're surprised that Calgarians didn't jump on the bandwagon of the fear-mongering of water shortage after your fiasco of 2024, and the dragging out of that event, because there was no experience, there was no knowledge, that there was no. Anyway, I just want to listen in here and see if there's anything else coming up.
For Michael and Sue, Nicole to get back downstairs, so we can shut her down there.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Just reach out to media relations if they can help you.
They want to shut it down. Get back to work, everyone. Well, that's good. Get back to work. Yes, perfect. But I'm just going to have a couple more questions, and then we'll end off here. But I appreciate you being here and experiencing this firsthand. So, critical artery. He mentioned a critical artery. So, and again, I'm going back to why was there no plan if this is a critical artery? Does that make any sense to anybody? If it's that critical that you don't have a backup plan, a redundancy plan, some sort of thing. And then the last thing that I want to mention is Farkas, our new mayor, Jeromy Farkas, mentioned that they were taking responsibility. I would like them to take responsibility for what has happened in the past. I'd like to have them take responsibility and go through and fire anybody that had anything to do with the failures. We have report after report after report. There has to be some finger pointing and some people that can be released. They don't have to be replaced either. We need to be cutting costs. We need to be cutting costs at the city. Let's start with some overpaid administration, the fluff in the administration in the city hall. There's too many managers managing paper so that nobody is held accountable. I do like that Jeromy Farkas had said that we're going to take responsibility and be transparent. Those reports should not be going to council first. They should be going to the people, the city of Calgary. They should not be scrutinized and looked over and picked apart. They should be raw from whatever agency that we have now paid to look through these and document what went wrong. Those documents should be open to the public and open, no editing whatsoever. People, we are the ones that paid for these reports. We're the ones that paid for the maintenance, for the upkeep, for the repairs. They pay for those people's salaries that were in that room. Many employees at the city. We need to have those reports unredacted, unedited. It needs to be raw and transparent. That's what the transparency is, Jeromy Farkas and the rest of City Council. Anyway, if you have any comments, questions, obviously I would love to hear from you. You can email me at unscrewthenews@proton.me. You can go through my website at unscrewthenews.com. I appreciate you being here with me on this first day of January 2026. I hope you had a fantastic New Year's. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here. Let's keep our head on a swivel. Let's stay sane together, folks. This is Bruce, and I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching Unscrew the News. I appreciate your participation in freedom in Canada. Share this information and help others to wake up. God bless.